Hey everybody, it's a new month, which means a new sketchbook tour. We're going to be going over Volume 2. Let's do it. Alright, so here is me. That's a self-portrait, I guess. I was kind of a frumpy guy. You can already see more of a Frank Quietly style line here. I am a comic lover. Here is some more pencil drawings. I was doing more ink drawings at this time. Starting to move more into ink, which I had kind of avoided for whatever reason. Man. I was watching a lot of Band of Brothers. You can see that I still kind of had an outline to some of my shapes here. And I drew hands like in a C shape all the time. Summer of 2008. More Frank Quietly. Oh, I really don't like that drawing. One thing I remember working on a lot was underlighting. I was very intrigued by that. And this is like before, you know, we had the kind of tools to... I mean, there are 3D models now, things like this. Google Images is way better than it used to be. But I remember, you know, now you can just Google, like, male face underlit, or, like, you know, and you'll get some great, you know, images and reference. But, you know, Google didn't really... Maybe I'm remembering this wrong, but I just remember it being more difficult to Google image stuff. So even though the internet, you know, was rocking and rolling, it's just... I don't know, things are different. Or maybe I was just not very smart. I don't know. But, yeah. I really liked Daredevil at the time. I was reading a lot of, Alex Maleev and... Is it Bendis? No, I can't remember who wrote it, but... Oh! One of my favorite Wolverine cards from as a kid. I can't remember if I brought this... I think maybe a friend gave this to me. This is one of my favorite little possessions. I forgot that I had this. That's awesome. And here is a drawing for my grandfather, for Papa. I think maybe we were hanging out with my grandfather, who's now passed away, but he loved golf and he loved Tiger. So I think he asked me at some point, it's like, Dan, can you draw Tiger Woods? He was just interested if I could do it or not. Oh. Man, really loved SWAT teams. It's a little bit of a, you know, rehash from, you know, Volume 1 of this series. I remember really struggling with hands. Holding guns, you know, like that. And I really like drawing night vision, I guess. I started to ink it, but I think I got frustrated. I like what I was going for here, but it definitely falls flat. I was using like a micron for all of my lines at this point in my kind of artistic endeavors. No brush at all. Freaked me out. The only thing I was using brushes for was to fill in blacks, and those were just like those crappy like Faber-Castell brush pens. That, you know, the tip would go out in like, you know, like a day after using it. I don't remember what this is from. Here, experimenting with stars, and I remember getting really frustrated. This is India ink. I remember I'd use like a crappy brush of India ink to fill in black spaces, and this is like maybe micron, which has a bit of a blue quality to it, and I hated the way it looked. So, yeah. More Wolverine. Oh, I like this drawing. That's nice. This is a guy. This is Bob. I worked a lot with Chicago's homeless population downtown when I was in college. And I remember Bob would hang out with us, and tell us stories about fighting in Vietnam. So, hey Bob, hope you're okay wherever you are. Here's some notes that I think I had to take for class. Henri Cartier-Bresson. He's one of my favorite photographers. I think I was... Stunning grotesque imagery while being almost abstract. Bruno Voigt... I don't know how to pronounce it. Attack. I'm going to Google image this, actually. Because I don't remember any of these. Alright. Bruno... I'll put an image up on the video, too. Bruno Voigt... Sorry, I'm just trying to figure out. Henri Cartier-Bresson. So he's one of my favorite photographers. And I remember... You know what? Let's see if I have the art book. Or, not art book, but... So, this guy is an amazing... was an amazing photographer. Just really inspirational stuff. Sense of composition is pretty darn amazing. I just remember finding him when we had to go to a museum and find some pieces that we were driving with, and a lot of his photography that I found was awesome, and it kind of got me started down his path. And like this framing here. With the kids playing, you know, like there's a kid right there who's kind of like holding his tummy as he laughs. Like, just fantastic composition. And this would be really inspiring to me. I remember like really being interested in drawing people and places at the same time, and a sense of place. And you know, I was less into comics at this point and more into like illustration, so this interested me a lot. Like, these shapes. There are a few standouts that I'm trying to see if I can. Obviously, very human, very, very intimate images of. I don't know. I'm feeling a lot of things now because I remember looking at this. Oh, look at this. So I'm pretty sure this is Paris. This was one of the pieces that I saw, but here's the figure. It's very moving, very mysterious, and the kind of harsh top and the it's so good. Those steps. Here we go. That's a great one. Great photo here. Man, some great shots. Anyway, if you see any of his books or any of his his photo books, definitely pick it up. I feel like I get a fair amount of my like how I show emotion in my work from this photographer. Obviously, inspiration comes from many places, but this is a big part of that, especially during that time for me. So, okay, let's get back to it. So I remember I had to sketch some of these things. I still am a big fan of Norman Rockwell. I know, you know, it has its issues, today, but technically, I mean, just an amazing painter. So, still a fan. Winslow Homer, figure with meat. Oh, okay. Number 1. I remember having to sketch these things. Here's some artist statements. These are like classes I'd have to do. This is a drawing I did of Lower Wacker Drive. This is very artsy fartsy. This is like very like art class, homework. But yeah, Lower Wacker Drive underneath Michigan Avenue, where we would go and hang out with some of the homeless people that live down there. Let's see. This is a lot of notes. more SWAT team people. Spec Ops Recon. This is embarrassing. Going from like thoughts on like homelessness and like social justice to dudes getting chased by zombies. Here you go, guys. This is me in a nutshell. Oh god. Trying to draw Green Leader, even back in the day. There's my Professor Tim Lowley. Tried to get his likeness. Did not really succeed. Trying to get some movement here. Definitely always drew my thighs, that part of the leg, I would always draw them too long. Still do. Working on it. I don't know what this is for. Huh. I think I just watched, oh man. Last of the Mohicans, maybe? That's where I got this idea from. More obnoxious dudes with guns. Really? Again, with that overlighting, underlighting stuff. Remember, we were in a... This is obviously very embarrassing. But the reason I did this is because I was in college talking about the My Lai massacre. So I was just like, I don't know. Well, that's my ex-girlfriend Megan. I actually still really love this drawing. Megan is doing well, by the way. She is happily married and has a kid. So hope she's doing well during this time. Snake Eyes. Dude, this drawing is amazing. Look at that. I don't draw like this anymore. I especially don't ink like this with the kind of with just that micron flares. This is like, I feel like kind of like sloppy, feels to me like sloppy Frank Quietly again. So, you know what though? This is like one of the first times that I like figured out how to watercolor over my ink lines, so call it a success. I love this drawing still. I remember trying to draw Asian people, which I just had never done before, because, white privilege, I suppose. But, trying to figure out how to draw people that just weren't white. So, still something I'm working on. Ooh! I don't know what this was for. I remember getting really frustrated with this figure. And this figure is just still gold. Look at that! It's so natural. It was a success then, and it's a success now. I remember overall being very happy with this drawing. I remember somebody was critiquing my work once, and they said my trees looked like clouds, and they're totally right. The tops of my trees are just terrible in here. Like, just no real sense of texture here. No... Too much negative space. It's fine if there's negative space here and then it's detail here, but or vice versa. But so there are things now that frustrate me about this, but of course, this is a long time ago. Remember watching Child Soldiers, a documentary about child soldiers here. More overlighting. I was having a bad day that day. I'm not sure what was going on. I think I was student teaching. It was a rough time. More Vietnam stuff. Hellboy. Head way too big. His head is way too big. Wow. Getting frustrated with watercolor because it would seep into the moleskin, you know. The moleskins have gotten a little better over the years, but more. So a lot of like critiques. I was doing a comic instead of a paper. For my it was a 1960s class, so Vietnam was a big part of that. Trying to get that detail. I feel like there's a scene in All-Star Superman where something crashes into Lex Luthor, whether it be a train or a car, and there's glass everywhere. I think I was trying to emulate that. Pretty stiff now, though. Also, very clear, I had no idea how to draw a comic. David and Tim. So here's some notes from November 2008. David and Tim. David was my other art professor. Do not think I should use color in my comics. Would take away from the gravity of the content and subject matter. My digital coloring very strong. Man. Some notes and sketches here. Punisher. It's like some really like well thought out critiques and like thoughtful, I don't know, reflections on like life and the things I was learning, and then just Punisher, bloody Punisher. Also, I still kind of struggle with how t-shirts end. I gotta get better at that. Oh, okay. Started reading 100 Bullets at this time. Could definitely see it right here and right here, for sure. Big 100 Bullets phase. So, final critique, all 4 faculty. David says, little behind schedule. Talked about possibilities for my senior show. La Jette. I think that's a bridge in French. I think there's an old, like, kind of artistic movie. Like a sci-fi-ish movie. La Jette. I don't know how to pronounce it. La Jetée? A 1962 French science fiction featurette directed by Chris Marker and associated with the left bank artistic movement. Constructed almost entirely from still photos, it tells the story of a post-nuclear war experiment in time travel. Ooh, college art classes. Gotta love it. Nana, another one of my professors. Long table to display images in a strip. Be able to walk and read at the same time. How do I transform fine art into comic art? David says I have a sense of compassion in my work and affirms that. Kelly, another art professor, says, good stuff, Dan. You should feel good about it. Thank you, Kelly. Kelly Vanderbrug, another one of my amazing professors from North Park University. Drawing of a dog. Batman. Wonder Woman. Not a good drawing of Batman here. This is fine, I suppose. Look at this pose. I thought this was so cool at the time, and now it's just like, I feel like Stan Lee when he's writing in How to Draw Comics the Marvel Way. You know, he's like, well, here's how regular comic artists would do it, but if you would, you know, the Marvel way is to like get really more intense, and it's kind of true here. It's like the stance is very boring. I was watching a lot of zombie movies, reading a lot of The Walking Dead at the time. I did a drawing for Robert Kirkman when I did a signing. I don't remember, I think it was before this sketchbook, but I drew Robert Kirkman was doing a signing in the downtown Chicago location of Graham Cracker Comics, and I went to the signing, and I drew him as a zombie with an axe, like, in his body or something. But then, he had like a handler, and they wouldn't let me give it to him directly because there were too many people there. So that was funny talking with him years later. He'd be like, I went to one of your signings, I drew you as a zombie. He's like, that's hilarious. So I was reading Scalped here, Jason Aaron's and Aaron Guerra's work. Still love that book, especially the art. A little self-portrait here. Star Wars, more SWAT teams. Still can't draw a car. This was from... Did this from a photo. There's a photographer who went around and was... I don't remember his name, but he did photography of different Native American tribes. And he's been critiqued because, he was kind of like trying to dress them up, I think, in ways that made them look more Native American. So there's some, I don't know. I remember working really hard on this though. Terrible drawing. Bad day at the, look at this. Watchmen. Bad, bad, bad. I don't know what this is for. This is some sort of art project. I know what this was. This is when Obama was getting inaugurated. I went to the inauguration, and I was seeing all these different people at the inauguration, and I was the illustrator for the I did like a comic strip for the North Park newspaper, like the student publication, and we all went, as part of the paper, we all went to the inauguration, and I remember seeing all these like different people there. This is obviously very tone deaf and white privilege take, so sorry about that. I'm learning slowly. But I remember like trying to show how many different people were looking to Obama at the time for real hope and change, so I like this drawing. There's another homeless guy. I don't remember his name, but I remember he wanted to pose and like kind of like squint and like he was looking at something else. He was very adamant about that. It's kind of cool. I just broken up with my girlfriend at this time. This is obviously embarrassing, but you know what? It's okay. We're gonna leave it in. I was just feeling very lost at the time, and angsty, about to end college feelings. So, ugh. Yeah, I remember having a tough time here in my life when I was drawing these images. Not bad, just challenging. Trying to figure things out. Trying to figure out art. This was a sketch for my senior art show sketch card. They wanted me to do it. Oh, this is fun. I remember abandoning this because I couldn't figure out how to make it look realistic, like there was an actual city on this guy. And now that I know a little bit more about weight and distribution, like in art, and obviously have to be more bent over. But the idea is cool. Ugh. Man. I remember bringing this sketchbook with me to Washington. I was part of a gospel choir at North Park. I played guitar, and if you were a good enough singer, they would take you to the North Park. They would take you on a tour of different Covenant churches. We'd like do gospel music. We'd sing gospel music for them. I was not a good enough singer, but I managed to get myself in the band by playing guitar, and I faked my way through it, and they invited me to go on the tour. So here is the bus. We drove up a Washington mountain and almost slid down it because it started to snow. Again, zombies, werewolves. Here are me and 2 friends shooting zombies. This is ungodly amount of embarrassing here. Whew. Powell's Books. October. This was printed in October 2006, but we were there in early 2009. Man, still there. That was a great time. I remember I bought I brought Brian Azzarello's and Lee Guillermo, sorry, their Joker. And that's volume 2. So I hope you enjoyed that. I was still learning. I'm always learning. And I'll see you back next month. I can't wait to go through volume 3. Take care.